I just got out of seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I would like you guys to make sure to like this video, upvote it, let YouTube know that you're enjoying what you're watching. A bit of a late review, but I'm sorry I could not get an early screening to this movie, so I had to get it out as soon as I can, and I've also been very busy. But I'm here, and let's go ahead and get into this review. So, there's been some major problems with Phase 4. I think we can all agree across the board. There's been a lot of moments in that phase that just felt very incoherent. They didn't have a clear plan of what they're going to do with that phase or what the long-term goal was going to be for Marvel going forward. There's too many jokey moments, too many moments that just felt very incoherent overall as a phase, with only standouts being Spider-Man No Way Home, as we all know. But even that didn't even feel connected to that overall MCU. It was more of a tribute to all of those prior Spider-Man movies, right? So here we have Phase 5 kicking off with a major project with Quantumania, the third Ant-Man installment, which is a big jump considering the first two Ant-Man movies were both heist movies, and now we have more of a Star Wars-ish, Star Trek-ish movie with Ant-Man in there, right? And Kang is a major villain, which they're setting up for the Phase 5 issues. Does this solve the problems that were going on in Phase 4? Yes, in a way, it does set up Kang as the further villain in Phase 5. However, I cannot say that this movie delivered on what it promised us, and that is a good movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring Quantum Realm, interacting with strange new creatures and embarking on an adventure that pushes them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Now, there are some positives to this film. I think there's some level of positives to every film. First of all, I just want to say the VFX in this movie are a definite huge improvement compared to Phase 4. The VFX in that movie were basically just intolerable. I couldn't watch a lot of those movies because the VFX just looked very bad. And it's not the animator's fault. That it's just Marvel's been pumping out all these projects that have not allowed the VFX artists to have enough time. And to put this into your guys' perspective, they were doing TV shows and the movies. So they're backed up and they don't have enough time to fully polish the products. It seems like they had plenty of time to do that with this overall movie. Paul Rudd is always phenomenal as Ant-Man. He is the Ant-Man in the series. I think that he does a phenomenal job with what he can do in this movie. He displays a lot of emotions through Scott Lang. And the funniest scenes in the movie happen to be with Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. And that's no surprise. I mean, you could laugh at Paul Rudd in anything, right? This movie does set up Phase 5. I will admit that. It does set it up well and does establish Kang in this movie. And also, speaking of Kang, Kang is a great villain in this movie. Jonathan Majors plays villain very terrifying. Like, when he was on screen, I felt like fear. Like, I thought he was a very intense villain. He felt very calm when he needed to be and intense when he needed to be. And he displayed a lot of emotions, a lot of great acting in this movie. And he plays the character of Kang very, very well.
You want to stop what's coming? Better hurry, Ant-Man. You thought you could win.
The whole point of Kang is that he's not supposed to be physically as powerful as someone as Thanos, but he has all this future technology, all this knowledge, and he can control time in the multiverse, and he can rewrite stuff. That causes him to be a bigger threat than Thanos. And Jonathan Majors plays this character very, very well. As a matter of fact, he may be one of my favorite Marvel villains so far. That being said, I do not think that he was enough to be able to save this overall film, because this overall film had some problems.
Think you can beat me? I am Kane!
This is a crap written movie. And I'm not saying that in the discredit of the writers. I'm pretty sure that their hands were tied with a lot of stuff in this movie. But there are so many moments in this movie that felt very incoherent with the story. It felt like a very stereotypical story, but not in the right way. A lot of things I felt like discredited a lot of the characters more than it benefited any of them. Also, the jokes, they were way too much, and they were not really funny. This was the same issue I had with Love and Thunder. Too many jokes that just did not land, and too many jokes that threw off the overall film and the overall writing. There could have been so many more powerful moments if they would not have joked in certain moments. The tone is very inconsistent. Even though Kang is the best part of the movie, he is also the biggest hindrance to the movie, because the movie is trying to be super comedic, trying to be super light, but then Jonathan Majors steps in, and the film gets good when he steps in, but at the same time it imbalances the overall tone of the film. It goes like this. Light, dark, and it just does not blend well, especially since the dark parts are the best part of the film, but the light parts are also the most crap part of the film. The characters literally have no arc in the film. None of the characters are really given anything of substance or substantial meaning in this film. No characters learn any morals, any lessons. All the characters are fine by the end of the film, and really, if you look at it, this entire film could have been cut. It was also split so many times. It wants to be a serious drama, then all of a sudden it wants to be a Star Trek movie, then it wants to be a Star Wars movie, then it wants to be a weird action movie. It blends all these tones together and they do not mesh well. And the moments that we get of these creatures, and the creature designs are fine, it's just that they throw in the Marvel humor from Love and Thunder, and it just does not mesh well with a character like Kang being introduced into the MCU, and this overall movie was just an overall mess. I found myself rolling my eyes many times in the theater, and I even saw some people walk out of the theater while I was watching this movie. That should say something right there.
And actually, that wasn't very nice.
And don't even get me started on MODOK. What they did with MODOK, I know MODOK is a very hard character to translate to screen, and I actually thought that he was a perfect villain to get in an Ant-Man movie, considering he's a very comedic villain, right? But it does not service the story, and you can cut him out completely out of the movie and he does not add a thing. And the VFX that they add on him to make him look like MODOK looks like Spy Kids level. All in all, this is not the worst MCU film that I've seen, but it's certainly far from the best, and it is almost Love and Thunder bad. It does set up Kang very well, and I do love Kang in this movie. I can't wait to see more of Kang later in the MCU, but I just wish that the movie that they used to set him up was overall better. They did all the setting up for Kang and did not pay that much attention or give that much quality to the overall story and the overall story of being an Ant-Man movie. In that regard, I'm gonna have to say this is a bad film. I'm hoping this is not the trend going into Phase 5. I really hope not. Kang is a great villain. I hope they do something with that and do something very well with the overall story of Phase 5. But for now, it looks like Phase 5 is again off to another rough start. But that's just my personal opinion, my personal review. What'd you guys think of the movie? Make sure you guys comment it down below. What'd you guys think of the movie? Is it as bad as you guys think? Again, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like the review, make sure you guys subscribe today to join the Isaiah Nation.